all these planets recently, like Jupiter and Saturn and Venus, that have been hit by asteroids or different things. I was wondering, is there any possibility that could be related to, as we approach 2012 and we go through the dark rift with the precession? Could that be related to that?
I don't honestly know. I don't know exactly what's causing it. There's any number of theories. As I mentioned earlier, there's a book that was written in 1990 that calculates, doesn't postulate, it calculates that the debris from the enormous comet that apparently passed Earth and caused all these extinctions in 12,300 years ago comes around again and again. I don't think it has anything to do with the dark rift.
So we're not even close to that yet? I mean, that wouldn't even...
I don't know. I don't honestly know, but it's not something that has seemed of concern to me, because, as I understand it, it's a vast distance away from here.
But you can see it on NASA photos, right? Hasn't it been photographed?
Well, it has, but you can see things on photos that are millions and millions of light years away. It's not as if it's a huge formation in interstellar space that is so far away that no matter what happens to this Earth, if we ever reach that area of space, we're going to be long gone by then.
Really? And Bob, have you two looked at the Dogon tribe, the tribe that knew about the Sirius star system?
Yeah, I've had
Bob Temple?
Robert Temple on my show. Yeah, he's a fascinating guy, and there's been, it's turned out that the Dogon, it was, the skeptics were saying that, well, the Dogon were contacted by Westerners in the 20s, and they probably picked up this astronomical information from them, but the Dogon claimed that there was a third star in the Sirius system. That and in those days, it was not seen. It was only recently discovered. The Dogon have had it in their tradition always.
Yeah.
Now, how could that be
they
true?
know? They didn't have telescopes.
No.
How did they know?
How did they know? I mean, why are we so arrogant that we are never willing to let the peoples of the past, I mean, the indigenous peoples and the peoples with long traditions of story in their cultures, tell us, but we never are willing to believe what they tell us. Yeah. Why not? Why not believe it? Oh, and incidentally, before we go, since we're getting close to the top of the hour, I want to mention that on unknowncountry.com, everything I've been talking about tonight was essentially my address at the Dreamland Stargate a couple of weeks ago. And the whole address is now in the unknowncountry.com subscriber section. So you want to listen to this in detail and get more, it's all there.
Is that the one you had at Joshua Tree?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Very good. Let's go to Carl in Brainerd, Minnesota. We'll take one or two more calls. Go ahead, Carl.
Hey, George. How are you doing tonight?
Good.
That's good. Say, I don't know, my 30th birthday is actually on December 22nd, 2012.
Well, you got to call in. We're going to cheer you that night.
But, well, I have a theory. Basically, it's a theory on gravitational pull. Based on where the moon is around our planet, it affects everything, even the tide. Where our planet is around the sun also has a different effect on our planet and people. It's all, I mean, our galaxy goes around something much bigger than we even know. And based on all these different angles pulling on each other, I think that it's going to have a great shift in consciousness along with the planet. And I think that's where it's actually coming from. I believe that there's going to be a great shift in consciousness and people are going to wake up, and along with that, the planet's going to change. And I do believe that the Bible's right, 2/3 of the population are going to perish. And that's also going to have an effect on our economy based on materialism. That's going to have to fall apart.
You were talking about your birth. When I was born, it was a warm summer night, and the town of my birth, Michigan City, Indiana, was hit by a hurricane of hailstones the size of golf balls, and it shattered all the windows and all the street lights. It shattered all the windows in the hospital. And my mother thought that that everybody in the as I was being born, it was a long and difficult birth, and suddenly it got very fast. And I was born amid this hurricane of hailstones. My mother said that the people in the hospital thought the Japanese were bombing that hospital.
Oh my
It was
God!
during World War II. So that there was also I have a portentous birth as well.
You came in grand style, Bob Gleason.
Oh, I purely did. I actually have the front page of the newspaper describing it. It says at the bottom, "Son born to James and Helen Gleason amid a hurricane of hailstones." Summer hailstones on a hot summer night, no less.
Responding to the caller, I love kids, and I have a tremendous. I find the human species incredibly appealing and extraordinary, and I just hate the idea that there would be these great disasters, and that so many of these beautiful, marvelous beings would die. But at the same time, when you look back across the geologic history of this planet, it's part of nature. Extinction, death, destruction, these periods of chaos are part of nature. Years ago, there was a wonderful book written called Hamlet's Mill, which is the first book that really looked at the message that the past has left us in stone. And the message that the past has left us from this book, and it's brilliant and incredibly clear, is this: be warned. Mostly, the earth is a beloved and friendly, beautiful place to be, but every so often, like Hamlet, she goes completely mad.
Whitley, thank you so much. Bob Gleason as well. Both of you just true experts in your own chosen fields. I'll be back in a moment with Michael Sala as we talk about the Vatican and their quest to find out about ETs next on Coast to Coast AM.